Hello and a warm welcome to our special broadcast on Rajya Sabha Television. The largest electoral democratic exercise of elections 2019 has just got over. Conducting free and fair elections has been a very big challenge and also one of the biggest talking points of this election. Joining me now is a very special guest, Senior Deputy Election Commissioner Umesh Sinha. I welcome him on the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Sinha, but our first question is basically that now when you look back at the 7 phases which have just got over, are you happy and contented with the way Election Commission conducted the elections?
Yeah, I think pretty contented and satisfied because what you see normally is about a month and 10 days. But our exercise, it starts maybe about 6 months in advance. And after that, the first major milestone is the day of announcement. And the second very important milestone is when we conclude our poll, and that was concluded yesterday.
But just on a very light note, now we are throughout the year, we are in the electoral mode. Sometimes it's the assembly elections, then you have the general elections. When do Election Commission officials really get the time to rest?
Not at all. I think this is just a momentary rest because we stop for a while and look forward for the next spate of elections and we conduct the state elections and then the national elections and then again go into the mode of the state elections. So it goes on. It's the largest country, largest democracy of the world, and definitely the elections are like foundations of democracy. So it goes on.
Mr. Sinha, coming to the larger picture of 2019 elections, this year we saw a huge voter turnout. A lot of people came out in huge numbers to vote. In fact, the numbers which I'm seeing have already surpassed the 2014 numbers.
Yes.
So what do you think is the biggest clincher or that particular point which really has drawn so many voters out of their homes up to the polling booth?
Well, I think it has been a very comprehensive strategy of the Election Commission. The objective of the Commission has been not only to conduct the elections freely, fairly and peacefully, which is definitely a bottom line. But now as a part of strategy, the Election Commission considered the elections to be inclusive, totally inclusive, accessible, ethical, participative, and not last but not the least is the making it like a festival. It's elections we consider like festivals of festivals. It cutting across all the caste, religion and the state boundaries, and definitely the national elections are the biggest festival of democracy.
And when you say that it was almost like a festival, we saw pictures of people in the selfie zone at the polling booth, which was never seen and heard of earlier.
Right. In fact, the Election Commission of India aptly named it as Desh Ka Mahatyohar, and all this sweep strategy for the voter education was weaved around that, so that people understand the importance of elections. They are not only conscious about their rights, but also the responsibility. They must feel that they should vote for the country, and that is why it was named as Desh Ka Mahatyohar.
Election Commission really, it's really wonderful the way the Election Commission has conducted this election is really not an easy task. But at the same time, there are a lot of people whose names were missing from the electoral rolls. The registration was not done. And what was that also another challenge which probably Election Commission faced, and there was some problem at that end?
Well, if you see how we managed our electoral roll, you would see that we started when we had our entire electoral roll segmented in the assembly constituencies. Then it came the digital era. We made the digital data up to the district level, then up to the state level, and then we escalated it to the national level. Right. So in 2014, the Commission decided that we should have integrated data, and in 2015, we conceptualized of a national voters service portal on which the entire data of the whole country will come. Okay. And after that, we started the data, and we started all services for the voters online. So earlier, you were not able to see so much of the errors and the also the missing names. So this after that it became totally transparent. And you know that India is a very dynamic country where people have been moving from one place to other for their education, for their employment, for staying with their children, they're visiting places, they are working somewhere else, living somewhere else. So it's a very it's a dynamic situation, and we opened up this platform for the online application, online modification of the addresses, any rectification. So that worked very magically. And if I can share with you a figure that in 2014,
yes,
our electoral roll was, the base was 834 million. And by the time we conducted our elections, this came up to 910, over 910 million. So you can see such a large number of people applied online, and we were able to register them. Even for the gender, which you are saying, that a huge spate of the applications that came to online.
Yes, because election commission
Yes,
seems to be
yes.
very popular with the women.
Yes, I think you would see that. I think the commission's focus has been on the gender participation, on the participation of persons with disabilities. So this was one area where we worked very hard, and 2009 onwards, when we made a whole strategy of the voters' education and awareness, it was nicknamed as SWEEP,
Right.
systematic voters participation, and that is how the participation of gender increased. If you see in 2009, this gap was about 9%.
Okay.
And with our hard work for the voter education, this gap in 2014, it came down to 1.4%. In this election, this has come to the less than 0.5%. So you can see that increased participation of gender. And also in large number of states, the gender participation has exceeded male voters. So that's a very, very gratifying point for the commission. And we have been since then focusing on participation of gender.
Coming to the larger question of VVPAT, on which people are seeking answers, like every second seems to be a new answer you seem to be getting, and people are still not very clear, because it's the first general election where we'll see EVMs functioning 100% along with the VVPATs.
Yes.
Now, how are you really going to implement the counting process? That's what I'm really interested in knowing. And can you just explain the procedure, how that's going to take place?
After 2013, when the VVPAT was, started on selected basis, we started selecting some of the assembly constituency and then some of the parliamentary constituencies to use VVPAT also. In 2017, the commission decided that for all the elections we will be using both EVM and VVPATs.
Right.
So VVPATs are like voter verifiable paper audit trail. So when you vote for somebody on a button, then you press the button, it has a beep, it has a light, it has also the VVPAT slip where you can see who you have voted for. It stays there for 7 seconds in that illuminated window, and then you go satisfy. And after that, the commission also started counting VVPAT slip of one VVPAT slip for one polling station, randomly selected in presence of the all candidates.
Okay.
And that is what is started. Now this year we will be counting 5 polling VVPAT slip for 5 polling stations.
Okay.
Randomly.
And this is per constituency?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So every assembly constituency that will be selected, and that will be counted in every counting center. So,
but Mr. Sinha, supposing if at all there is a mismatch or there is a complaint that probably the EVMs have not matched with the VVPAT, how do you really counter that situation then?
Well, I think there are things to understand. One is that there cannot be any mismatch. So whatever has come in the control unit, that is what will be displayed on the VVPAT slip.
Okay.
Sometimes it happens where the human error occurs. Like more than 1 million polling station, we have the presiding officers who are working there. So for every polling station, before we start the poll, then the mock poll is conducted.
Okay.
So in that there are 50 or more, the votes are cast in presence of the political parties' agents, the
Okay.
candidates' agent, polling agent, and then that is counted, and then candidate wise it is matched, and then the CU button is cleared, and the actual poll starts. So that is, but in some of the exceptional cases they were find that by human error they are not able to clear the button, they continue. In that case, the VVPAT slip
So
is
that's where actually the problem starts, maybe because of the human error.
yeah. So that is that there are only some exceptional cases where the commission orders that for the count of the VVPAT slip in those cases also.
Right.
So so that is the situation. But actually, if you see what you vote is that is what you get, and millions of people who have voted and they have seen, witnessed their own votes.
Obviously, that cannot be changed.
Who else can be the better witness than one's own vote?
The entire objective behind bringing in VVPATs was to make it more transparent, to make it more trustworthy. But despite the procedure being made so foolproof, the opposition parties always keep blaming that there would be some kind of a problem. At least that's what the perception they are creating, that there could be some kind of a mismatch, and then they start suspecting all sorts of conspiracies. So what do you really have to tell these people who are talking in this manner?
Well, basically, EVM and VVPAT are nothing but they are mirror of the mandate of the people. So they cannot speak anything else except the mandate of people. Now it is a process which is to be properly understood by the political parties,
right.
And they have to understand it in that context. So so one is that we started EVM and VVPAT awareness program all over the country. So before using this for the polling stations, this awareness program was taken to every polling stations, and millions of people, even before the poll started, they witnessed themselves, and they are also the witness that every vote which they voted, they saw the same VVPAT slip.
Right.
And same happened that in this poll also, where the millions of people, they voted and they have seen their own VVPAT slips. So it is to be understood that there may be some malfunctioning of the machine. Like any machine, definitely there may be malfunctioning, and in that case the machines are changed.
Okay.
But they have the machine are truthful, and they have been produced under a very strict regime of surveillance, and there is a technical expert committee which is there, the most renowned scientists and the academic. They are the members of the technical committee. They vet each and every step of the machine, their production, the certification which is done after that, and once the machine comes, then definitely this is again tested for the first level checking.
So probably the people who talk on the anti-VVPAT line is basically because of their ignorance, or probably their ignorance of the technology. That's how you would read it?
Not anti-VVPAT line. Basically, people have been saying just about the number of the count which should be increased instead of
That's
1
what I mean.
to
The
5.
people who are talking
But
about the mismatch.
I think as you take, I would say that if you have to take a blood sample of a person, then you don't take from 5 places. So one is good enough, and that is how the commission also started, that one sample is good enough, because it's being randomly taken all over the country and all over the places.
Right.
But when the matter went in the Supreme Court, then it was decided to have 5. So we are taking it 5, which is good enough for a random checking and sampling.
But Mr. Sinha, when you say that these 5 samples will be taken, and then the counting process will start. So my question to you is that, talking about the entire counting process, 23rd is the day of the counting. By when do you really expect the final results, the officially put out results? By when do we expect? How much time is it really going to take?
Well, there are three new things rather, I would say, for this round of counting.
Okay.
One is that we start our count for the EVM results. Then second is the postal ballot, for which the polling officials who have voted, so their postal ballots. And then we have, this time is a new arrangement of the e-postal ballot.
Okay.
So all these service electors, they were this time provided the postal ballot through the electronic gateway, and through the web portal, they by using their OTP and username password, they could download. So that has now enhanced the participation, and I would say that's one of the biggest achievement of the commission, that for service voter, for this time they have voted in the largest number, and their votes have come back also in the largest number.
So coming on 23rd May, 8 a.m. when the counting starts, you will be counting the e-postal ballots first.
Yeah, the first we start with the postal ballot, which e-postal ballot.
It's going to be e-postal ballots.
Yeah, after that we start the counting with the EVM machines, and once we complete the round of the count with the EVM, in that the final round of the EVMs can be counted only when we have finished the count of the postal ballot and e-postal ballots. So by the penultimate round, we should be able to finish our postal ballot, and then we'll start the final round, and after that we will start the audit round, which is the counting of the VVPAT slip.
Every TV channel, they have their own sources of relying on the data, but there is a huge chunk of people and channels like ours, Doordarshan, we do bank on the data which is given by the Election Commission.
Yeah.
Now, when Election Commission is putting out the data, many times it happens that because of the information overload, the website is very slow or it doesn't work. So by when can we really expect the exact final numbers to start trickling? I'm not talking about the trends, I'm talking about the exact result or the exact picture. By what time can we really give to the viewers?
Election Commission has been very modern with the technology. And you know that entire data for the electoral roll live online. In the same way, during the process of the poll also, our voter helpline app which was introduced, and the lakhs of people downloaded that, and they were seeing the turnout ball to ball. In the same manner, for the counting also, we are launching our voter helpline turnout app, and on the website also, you will be seeing real-time result. But Election Commission is never in a hurry to result. So every round wise we have to complete the process, and the moment it is round wise declared there, at the same time you will be able to see on the website, also on the mobile phone. So this time it will be pretty fast, and as you see, but ours would be definitely which is properly verified. So without verification,
which party has got how many votes?
Yes.
Will we be able to arrive at a conclusion on 23rd, or is it going to trickle down till 24th?
It will depend, but I think whatever results are coming, you can, through our voter turnout app and the website, you will be able to track the political party wise, candidate wise, constituency wise. So all that result will keep on coming on Election Commission's website and on our mobile app, which will be available for the people. So that is there. About the results, when it will come, I think that's a.
I heard also people saying that, the counting process this time is going to carry on for 2-3 days maybe.
Well, I think the procedure and the quality of counting is more important for us. So as I said, that we will not be hasty to declare our result. We will definitely complete all the procedure round wise, and round wise we will be declaring, also depending on the size of the constituency and the size of rounds. So in some of the places we will declare it much faster if the number of rounds are lesser, and in some of the places again, you know that if the margin is lesser than the postal ballot, then in that case we have to recount the postal ballot once again.
Coming to the next point of the prevalence of money power in elections, and that is something which for years Election Commission has been battling with, and each time the elections are conducted, people say that probably it's going to happen freely, smoothly, and it does happen. But the use of money power, it seems, has not been able to be curtailed. This year, if you look at the figures which have come in, the amount which has been quoted recently is more than 3,000 crore, which has again surpassed the figure of 2014. So how do you really tackle this menace?
Well, I think that the way we tackle that is how you are seeing the catch of more than 3,400 crores, during these elections, because people have been spending more and more money through the various unaccounted sources, illegal sources, I would like to say. And in that case, we have a strategy now for every assembly constituencies. You have 3 flying squads, you have a static surveillance team, You have a online monitoring of movement of the flying squares. We launched our CVigil app where people could lodge their complaint directly.
Where the citizens could lodge their complaint.
They could also upload the photograph and live video from that particular GPS location. We could track and we could immediately send the our flying squads. So they did wonderful work. But the things have changed, and where there are many ways of digital transfer of money. There are many new innovative steps the people are doing. The Election Commission even countermanded the election of the Vellore parliamentary constituency on this factor. So definitely, Commission has a strategy of ethical education, ethical awareness for the voters, because voters will have to be themselves be aware that they don't take anything from anybody, and the political parties and the candidates will also have to vote for this and pledge for this, that they don't indulge into the bribing of the voters. So it's something which need to evolve, and commission, it has been a concern of the commission. We have been trying our best, and I think that is how you have seen such a good enforcement, such a search and seizure and action on the on different fronts.
When you are coordinating on such a big scale and throughout the 7 phases, through each and every phase, when you have to keep an eagle's eye on whatever money transfers are happening or wherever you get the information on, how much of a challenge is it to really coordinate among all the enforcement agencies? Because you really need a very big team for that.
Yes, I think India is very fortunate to have a very good partnership and collaboration of all the agencies working together for the free and fair election. So in that context, I would say that all enforcement agencies, they are working under the aegis of the Election Commission. The Election Commission does prepare a strategy, holds a national level conference with all the major organizations of the country who are dealing with the this thing. Even at the state level, all the state and central government organizations, they have a coordinated team, the enforcement agencies, and then they are all working together to see that elections are not affected by illegal money or by gratification of voters. So that effort is going on. It is definitely doing very fine, but definitely this is one area of concern, and we all need to work together. The political parties need to work together to stop this menace.
Another talking point of this election has been the way social media has been keeping the Election Commission on the toes. You came out with certain guidelines also, and you followed and tracked social media very closely. But even then, a lot of violations were seen. So is that an area which is emerging as a very big challenge for Election Commission, or you're really in a comfortable position now to tackle the growing social media?
Well, I think the engagement with social media in India and during this national election has been pretty successful. Because about this also, I would like to say that a committee was set up to understand how we can make the effective regulation on social media, that during 48 hours before poll nothing happens, and also during the MCC nobody is able to misuse social media. And we had several round of deliberations with all social media intermediaries. Then the Internet and Mobile Association of India also came forward along with all the social media intermediaries. They came and they themselves volunteered for a voluntary code of ethics. And during 48 hours, they agreed to take down the contents within 48 hours. So whenever we found such violation, the grievance channel which was set up at the Election Commission level, that examined, directed, and then the social media organizations took down the such objectionable contents. So I think the kind of apprehension which we had beforehand, that there were
at least that has
I think that fear has been allayed, and I think we are able to that way minimize or mitigate the ill effect of the social
Another
media.
question which I would like to ask you, Mr. Sinha, is that, Election Commission ended the West Bengal campaign about 20 hours early. Now, does that one read as an unprecedented step, or is it just a step to conduct free and fair elections, because a lot of violence was seen in West Bengal? So would like to know your view on this.
Well, I think Election Commission always rises to occasion wherever there are any extraordinary situation come where the Commission needs to address it. The Commission takes exceptional decisions, like during Bihar elections, the Commission decided that even the print media advertisement should be pre-certified during 48 hours, and from that time, even though it is not a part of law, but the Election Commission has been regulating that. So, if there are certain steps which are desired to be taken by the Election Commission as an extraordinary basis, depending on the situation of place, the Commission takes a decision.
So you do see this as an extraordinary decision taken by the Election Commission in the wake of all the violence which was seen?
Yeah, all specific cases where the Commission understands to take an extraordinary step, I think the Commission takes a decision.
But sir, in the wake of so much of violence in West Bengal, which we had seen, would you be also thinking about repolling, or it's just over now and no decisions are going to be taken on it?
No, repoll is a different consideration depending on the situation, the kind of poll which has happened, the violation which has taken. So case to case basis, the Commission takes a decision. We get input from the polling stations to what extent the process has been vitiated, in what manner it has been vitiated. About the peaceful, for conducting peaceful election, definitely we need to have the component of the security forces as much required, and that is how the contingent for the CPF was enhanced for West Bengal, and the action were taken up to regulate and control that the West Bengal elections become peaceful.
One final question, sir, regarding the violation of the Model Code of Conduct. When we are talking about the Model Code of Conduct, let's say, for example, in the silent period, when all the campaigning has stopped, we do see social media, which is very active. Political parties, they do their own streaming. So in that scenario, how do you really refurbish and change the system? Or do you really need to do more on this?
Well, I said earlier also that, see, technology is something, which is growing. It is growing in different perception. So if you see this context, all these communication channels are either they are the national network or they are the international network. So prohibiting it to a particular zone of election is definitely a difficult deal, and that is the area which requires deliberation, and we also have made certain recommendations for the changes in law which may be required.
And probably that will happen when we start talking or maybe acting towards the electoral reforms.
Yes, after every election, the Commission sets up task forces and working groups to identify the challenges, issues which came during the election, also makes a necessary recommendation for change in law wherever it is required. So after this election also, the Commission will consider setting up such committee, identifying the issues or challenges, and then come with the recommendations.
Definitely, we look forward to this kind of a committee you're talking about, and at all when we start talking about electoral reforms. But definitely, we must congratulate Election Commission for the mammoth exercise which had put you on the toes for the entire, you say, 6 months. So we'll go by that period and not like a month and a half. So congratulations again, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So that's it on this special conversation with Umesh Sinha. Goodbye and thanks for your time.